Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Happy March. It's crazy to think that it's March already. Seems the first 2 months of the year just flew by. And hopefully y'all are enjoying nice weather like we are. Beginning of the week, it was 80 degrees on Monday, and then Tuesday night it was 10 degrees and snowing. So that's weather in the Midwest for you. And today it's sunny and upper 50s, low 60s, so we'll take that over an 80 to 10 degree swing.
Yeah, yep. We'll take it, although it does prove the old adage true that if you don't like the weather, stick around and it'll change.
In 5 minutes, at least here in Omaha.
For sure.
And we're glad to be back with you guys. We've been off, as y'all know, for a couple of weeks, just some family health issues and just the reality of being in the middle of the country and having aging parents on different ends of the country. But thankfully, things have stabilized a little bit, and we are here to go over some news that has happened over the last week or two, and glad to see everyone back.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and get into the first topic here with you guys because it's a long one. Let me get it up here. So Paramount Plus is in the news again this week with talks that now it might potentially merge with Peacock. So we talked even in our last live stream, I think, about how Paramount Plus is kind of shopping around even Paramount for a buyer potentially.
I don't think they know what they want.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they do. We had even talked about them potentially merging with Max, and now that's off the table, but now Peacock is the latest one. We really don't know what's going on. And as you can see here, like I said, WBD was in talks to potentially merge with Paramount. That's not happening. But let's dig into a little bit of why this is happening, what's going on. So bringing Peacock and Paramount Plus together under one roof. Let's talk about the benefits. Why are they looking at that? It could create cost savings from the content they create to marketing that content. It could potentially be a good thing for us, especially in regards to live sports, because you would get everything on NBC and CBS there streaming in one hub as opposed to two. And then more broadly, we'll just get us back to us here now. More broadly, it could mean, sorry guys, 1 second. Technical difficulties. There we go. More broadly, it's reflective of what's going on in the entertainment industry. So entertainment companies across the space are exploring new streaming bundles. We've talked about that. And ventures that will allow them to gain scale, attract more customers, and help bring those costs down of creating all that content and running all these apps that they all jumped into chasing Netflix for and thought they were the latest thing. Now I feel like that all the major networks, the three, have launched their own. I think they're seeing it's really not profitable. And so they're kind of backtracking a little bit. But let's also keep in mind that a few weeks ago, Disney, ESPN, Fox, and WBD announced that they were going to be combining forces to create this sports streaming joint venture. And so, Paramount and Peacock are seeing that, and maybe they're thinking, we combine, it offers an alternative, something to kind of go up against that potential juggernaut. Also worth noting that Paramount Movie Studio and cable channels like Nickelodeon and MTV, maybe those are some other properties that could get thrown in. But like John said, details are really thin. There's nothing. We don't even know if this is going to happen, or next week it'll be someone different.
And Aaron brings up a great point, and it's something that numerous articles have pointed on, just the regulatory hurdles that it would cause with NBC and CBS being together under the same company. That causes significant regulatory hurdles. And so that, that's an obvious thing, and maybe it would just be them housing their apps under one sign-in.
Yeah.
Who knows? Like I said, I don't think they know what they want. They're just losing money and want a way out.
Yep, and on the losing money front, Paramount Global dropped their fourth quarter results on Wednesday, which came in mixed. It did reveal that their streaming losses peaked in 2022, even while their linear TV revenues plummeted. And it's struggling amid, I think this is important to note because it'll come up in another story we have later today. They're struggling amid a tough ad environment. So, big tech companies like Amazon and Apple, they have seen their businesses rebound. Even Netflix has, but smaller players, which I know it seems strange to think of Paramount as a smaller player, but in the streaming space they have not seen revenues rebound. Bob Bakish, the Paramount CEO, said he expects Paramount Plus to become profitable in 2025. So that's like a whole nother, maybe 2 years that they have to wait.
Yeah.
Close to 2 years. Subscription revenue did grow 43% to reach $1.34 billion, but and overall direct-to-consumer revenue totaled nearly $2 billion in the quarter, and it was slightly above what was expected. So it was really a mixed results, and maybe they'll have some more cash now that the strikes are over. So we'll see. I guess that's the short and long of it.
Yeah, and Bill brings up a good point about live sports. That's the holy grail that everyone wants, and the Paramount Peacock thing Paramount Plus Peacock thing is in part a reaction to the joint sports venture that has been announced. And it came out a week or two ago that Amazon is forking over between 120 and 150 million for an exclusive NFL playoff game next season. They saw the supposed success that Peacock had, so it's further dilution or further behind paywalls of live sports. And getting to the joint sports venture, Fubo announced in the last week that they are suing Disney, Fox, and WBD over their recently announced sports streaming joint venture. And they put out a press release about this. Numerous outlets reported on it. The venture is slated to roll out this fall, but several key questions remain around its specifics and its structure. It came out also this week that you're going to have the ability to bundle in Max with it. ESPN Plus will be included as well. So Fubo cited what it calls, quote, extreme suppression of competition in the U.S. sports-focused streaming market. Further, quote, these horizontal competitors are colluding to create a joint venture that will cause substantial harm to competition and consumers. And who were they viewing as a competition? Them. And they actually just announced their quarterly earnings this morning, which I'll touch on here in a minute. Lawsuit also names ESPN and Hulu as defendants. And Fubo's CEO, David Gandler, said each of these companies has consistently engaged in anti-competitive practices that aim to monopolize the market, stifle any form of competition, create higher pricing for subscribers, and cheat consumers from deserved choice. And then further quoting, by joining together to exclusively reserve the rights to distribute a specialized live sports package, we believe these corporations are erecting insurmountable barriers that will effectively block any new competitors from entering the market. And that's a lot to take in. And they're arguing that Fubo's arguing that Disney, so the three companies which control a significant portion of live sports content, impose bundling requirements and significantly above market licensing fees on Fubo, inflating prices for consumers. And it's tough not to see how they're not accurate with that statement. And heck, ESPN alone, just that channel is like $10 to offer. And then you have to take in other Disney channels on top of it. Now the joint venture allows the media companies to undercut those prices and avoid the same restrictions on which channels they have to carry, granting them a competitive edge, the lawsuit alleges. And Craig Moffat, an analyst at Moffett-Nathanson that we've mentioned here on our live streams quite a bit, said at the time that antitrust challenges were likely. And Fubo is warning that watching your favorite sport is about to get a lot more expensive. And that's very likely not wrong. And so they have, so Fubo has their shares of fallen.
Sorry, I'd agree with Raymond there. I agree. I don't really think Fubo has much of a case as being the one that those laws are designed to protect.
Yeah.
Also with the way they add on their fees and they're kind of deceptive about it, it seems really choice coming from them.
Yeah. And I would argue, as I've said before, they should have seen the writing on the wall, so maybe do something that makes them a little different. Yes, they offer a lot of sports. YouTube TV does as well. Hulu Live does as well. Maybe do something to make themselves different. Create a lower price tier, maybe something like that.
Like William said, the answer to your lawsuit, Fubo, drop your prices.
Yes, exactly.
Agree.
Exactly. And so as I mentioned, Fubo announced their earnings this morning. They added 141,000 subs during the first quarter, taking them to just over 1.6 million subs, which is a record for them. Earnings were up year over year, but they did have a net loss of 25 million. And the CEO said on the earnings call this morning that they plan on reaching profitability next year. So again, it could be another 2 years. And
they probably are getting up there, Woodage. He says Fubo's reached the $100 mark for some. Yeah,
because when you add in, if you're not in the under 5% of their subscribers that don't have an RSN, so you have 90+% that have that RSN, you're at $95-ish, $100. And the important thing to remember is, I don't believe they touched on during the earnings call this morning, first quarter was at the very end of the NFL season. And so I'm not anticipating that quarter two is going to necessarily be a good quarter for them, especially considering that, we're at the end of the first quarter, but what happens at the beginning of the second quarter, the Final Four. And so they don't have the Turner networks. And seeing as the Final Four and National Championship are on TBS this year, you're out of luck if you're a Fubo subscriber.
I've been thinking for some time, just looking at the comments in the thread, that the live streaming services are largely just replicating cable and the same problems we had there. Just the method of transmission has changed from cable to, wireless internet or internet service. So, but the way they're packaging their plans and pricing and the approach seems to be very similar, which I don't like. And I really hope that, although I expect it to continue, and I think at some point we're going to see $120 if you want everything through a Hulu Live or a DirecTV stream or a Fubo. I hope that those lower priced options still remain in the market for people that don't want RSNs, because that was kind of the beauty of streaming. And maybe it's impacted the whole thing enough, like we see with the Spectrum Disney deal for cable subscribers, where we will, some lower priced options will still remain out there. I hope.
Yeah.
I really hope.
Yeah. And I think the joint sports venture, if it actually is successful and it launches, I think it's going to be possibly good for the Frndlys and possibly Philo, but maybe not so much as them. Sling, maybe, possibly, but it's could leave some wake there for people to deal with. And that's an excellent point, Nate, that a fair number of Fubo's channels are free platforms. Furthering with sports, it came out this week that Diamond Sports is very close to emerging from bankruptcy, which we did not see happening for a while as a possibility. It seemed like that they were circling the drain. The sports broadcasting company, which owns and operates the RSNs under the Bally Sports brand, as well as the streaming app, seemed to be aligning its affairs in bankruptcy court to wind down operations after this year. However, according to a report from Sportico, after a good day in court this week, the company appears more likely to emerge from bankruptcy proceedings as a going concern in the coming months. And they got Diamond got approval to obtain $450 million in financing on Monday. Has deals in place with the NBA, NHL, and MLB for this season. And if they emerge, an investment from Amazon is still waiting for them. The latest news from Diamond's bankruptcy proceedings does not represent a guarantee that they will emerge from bankruptcy as a viable business, but it's the surest sign yet that the company is not as doomed or as in trouble as we thought, or as it appeared. Diamond has received approval for a new financing deal and a settlement with Sinclair in bankruptcy court. Those were two big steps. And Judge Christopher Lopez in court this week gave approval to secure the $450 million in debtor in possession financing. And he says, quote, "This is another huge step forward in the debtors emerging from Chapter 11. And if they're able to emerge, as I mentioned, there's more money waiting for them from Amazon, that company will fork over $115 million in convertible notes once Diamond is a going concern again. And a deal that will also see Bally Sports become available through the Prime Video Channels platform. And then renewed partnerships between both leagues and the company are likely if they're able to emerge from bankruptcy proceedings, as the company gives the NBA and NHL a proven broadcast partner and saves those teams the trouble of finding new distributors for their games or going on their own. As of right now, it's reported that apparently the MLB is perfectly fine with seeking new broadcast partners after this 24 season that's getting ready to start here soon. And relations between MLB and Diamond have been outright contentious for most of the court proceedings. And Commissioner Rob Manfred wants to create a league-run streaming platform with as many teams as possible for launch by 2025. And to do so, he'll need streaming rights for the 5 teams currently held by Bally Sports.
You're jumping ahead of us there a little bit. We actually have a story coming up in a bit about that deal from T-Mobile. So hang on, we'll get there.
Yeah.
I just want to say one other thing before we go into some non-sports topics. I'm seeing you guys comment about cable and stuff over here. I just want to put out there that sometimes cable is a better deal for people, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Like we're not cable haters in that we want you to get the best deal possible. Most of your favorite channels for the best price. And that varies depending on who you are and where you live. So if cable is cheaper for you, go for it. And if you're able to cut it, as I've seen some of the comments in here, and like Tiffany switched to Hulu Live and she was paying, I think I saw $170 a month. Well, gosh, okay, 85 or whatever seems high, but that's like half the cost, literally. So that's a good, smart decision. So. Yeah,
and as an aside, Raymond brings up a good point about the Tubi reskin that came out this week. It does look a bit like Freevee, and I've bounced around a little bit in it this week. Haven't gone completely headfirst into it yet, but I would agree with the sentiment that it does sort of have a Freevee look to it. Mm-hmm. Which, as of right now, is still around, and Amazon backtracked on the news that they were going to be sunsetting Freevee, so it'll be interesting to see where that goes.
Yep. Okay, so this next story is different and interesting. I don't know if y'all caught this, but Walmart is buying Vizio. That deal has gone through. They bought Vizio for $2.3 billion, and Vizio is a TV producer. So why would Walmart do this? The deal is expected to close this summer after regulatory clearance, and I think it's just interesting to look at why. So I've got a couple of articles here. share with y'all. But Walmart sees this purchase as a way for them to make more profits. I mean, that's always what it's about, and extend their selling cycle or purchase path, if you will, beyond just when you're in the store. This purchase will give Walmart, which is America's largest retailer by revenue, more money to plow into offering faster shipping and other services. At least that's what they're saying. And I think behind that is, which I'll get to in a second, it's from ad revenue. They're arguing that if they make more ad revenue, then they can compete with Amazon on offering free shipping for their groceries, things that Amazon is offering, as we know, through their Prime membership. But let's not forget, they also just want to make more money. So, but here's how it could work. And really, again, it's not about, you might think at the surface, well, this is about Walmart just wanting to get more TVs into their stores and maybe at a better price. And that's not what it is at all. It's actually about growing their advertising revenue. Last year, they said they earned, Walmart, that is, $2.7 billion in global advertising revenue. And they are now testing selling ads through connected TVs. This buying Vizio makes that easier, and here's why. So TV ad sales are controlled by whatever company owns the TV's operating system. So Roku is an example of that. Vizio has its own. Samsung Smart TV has it. Hub, that's a platform where, as you know, you can go in and get fast channels on there. So whoever buys ad space on Vizio's connected platform, that money is going to go to Walmart, because they are now going to, if this deal goes through, they would own Vizio. If you are familiar with Walmart's brand ONN, that runs on Roku or Google TV. So really, Walmart's just selling the hardware. All of that ad revenue is going to Roku or Google TV. Amazon makes up 17% of the operating systems in connected TVs. Vizio makes up 8%. Roku has 25%. So this is really yes, it's a play for Amazon, but should Roku be a little worried? Walmart's coming after them. So is Amazon. And also, Walmart can monetize the TVs that it does sell. I mean, it's still going to sell Vizio sets, and it can monetize that long after the TV is out of the store. So, I mean...
And why is that? What do smart TVs know?
Right. They know what you buy. They know what you watch. They know. And so Walmart can... I love this example, and then we'll move on to something else. But... Yes, Procter & Gamble, P&G makes a ton of stuff that are sold inside of Walmart stores. P&G could run an ad on the Vizio TV through Walmart's ad unit, and then those ads could be shown to you at home on your TV, and then Walmart can track those ads back to, did you buy that product in one of our stores? They're also going to advertise in their stores, throughout their stores more, all based on, this is just another way for them to look at what are you interested in? What are you spending your money on? What are you doing in your free time? So that when you do walk into that Walmart store,
they can target.
Yes, just expect smarter advertising, which maybe that'll be a good thing. But don't forget your self-control, because they're going to be working overtime to convince you to buy more stuff. So anyway, hopefully y'all found that as interesting as I did. I'm a little bit of an advertising nerd. I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah, for sure. And it's all about targeted ads and making money through those ads. And speaking of which, our next topic is, you probably saw this reported, that streaming revenue for the first time is going to overtake pay TV revenue. Later this year, analyst report came out and said by Q3 of this year from Ampere Analysis, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, they're predicting it's going to hit $17.3 billion, topping $16.7 billion from pay TV. Now, pay TV revenues peaked in 2017, but by 28. So in 4 years, they'll be half of what they were at their height. And streaming subscriptions surpassed pay TV in 2016, but the lower revenue per user on streaming platforms have held revenues back. And one of the key drivers in this is streaming ad revenues. And virtually everyone has added an ad-supported tier, and sometimes they're lower priced, so it induces more people that may not like ads but want to save money to sign up for that. And streaming ad revenue is expected to surpass $9 billion this year, now that Amazon has forced them on us on Prime Video. And total revenues from streaming, including the ad revenue from hybrid streaming subscription tiers, will overtake, like I said, in Q3 of this year. And they're predicting that, and rightfully so, that streaming will continue to grow as traditional TV, pay TV declines. And now, while streaming subscriptions overtook pay TV back in 2016, it was the average revenue per user, so ARPU, was 1/10 of that of pay TV, and that is now catching up. And those hybrid tiers, along with the increased clampdowns on the password sharing that we're seeing now, across the Disney apps, have been successful at reigniting growth in the streaming market. But the analyst is still saying there's still a way forward for pay TV. As Nicole touched on a few minutes ago, Disney and Charter's recent deal in the U.S., which gave almost 15 million Charter subs access to Disney Plus's advertising ad-supported tier, shows how the two businesses can work together to maximize streaming's reach to domestic subscribers, and highlights the importance of traditional distribution platforms as service aggregators. And that's another key piece in this is the distribution piece.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to our next. We only have 2 more stories for y'all. This next one is switching gears here. We're going to move over to Fire TV, Amazon Fire TV. They put out a new update that is reportedly breaking some apps. So it pushed through this update to its Fire Stick devices and its TVs that has broken apps that let users bypass the Fire OS home screen. Amazon says this is about security, but it did not release any news of security concerns. So it more so seems like what's going on here is that they wanted to take away the Android debug or ADB bridge feature that some apps had allowed people who knew what they were doing, not me, to perform advanced tasks on them. So some of the things that, if this is impacting you, just maybe if your Fire Stick isn't working right on some apps, maybe this explains it a little bit. It removed the ability for apps to clear up internal storage space by clearing the cache for all installed apps, for instance. So, now you have, and we've seen that. Now you have to go through one by one and clear the cache. So that's a little bit of an inconvenience. It also allows Amazon to block apps, and really, I guess this is what it is all about. Allows Amazon to block apps from changing the Fire TV home screen or other features on Fire TV. They have absolutely monetized that home screen space, and they want to do more of it, probably putting more ads and sponsored placements in there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, long and short of it is that it prevents third-party apps from making changes to Fire TV devices that change how the operating system works. And it's really unknown right now how many apps this change will impact. Many apps don't use ADB, but a handful of them do, and it seems that Amazon's cracking down on those that do. And also reports are out that Amazon is going to be soon making changes to the Fire TV home screen. And we think that's largely meant to more easily see for Amazon if content is, for users, if it's free or paid. They're making some changes to help us see hopefully improve the user experience there.
Supposedly, yes. And if they could get rid of the autoplay of ads, which we did a review video recently of that. If they could get rid of that, if they could 86 that would make a lot of people happy, because it is highly annoying. So yeah, be on the lookout for that if you have a Fire TV
and
device.
Really, one of the main things, if you're kind of newer to streaming devices, that makes Fire devices, so Fire TV sticks versus Roku streaming sticks, different is that Roku is known for having a more simple, easy to navigate home screen, that whereas Amazon is really trying to put everything up there all at once for you, and
all of their stuff.
Of their stuff, yeah. So anyway.
So one last thing, and I believe it was Woodage that asked us or mentioned this a couple minutes ago. Spring training for baseball began last month now, and MLTV members can find every game with the All Teams yearly subscription. Includes every out-of-market regular season and selected spring training games without blackout restrictions. Well, T-Mobile announced that once again this year, as a part of a deal to keep free MLB TV on T-Mobile for the next couple of years, and qualifying subscribers can sign up for free MLB TV between March 26th and April 2nd, so about 3 weeks-ish from now. And you will do so, they said, through the new T Live app, formerly known as T-Mobile Tuesdays. That's what they announced. And fans can watch up to 4 games simultaneously on the MLB app with multi-view on Apple TV, Fire TV, Google, Roku, Xbox. And can also find catch-up mode on select streaming platforms. So this is pretty nice for baseball fans out there that are T-Mobile subscribers. But on the flip side, they also announced that they are not going to be extending the free access to MLS Season Pass this year. So for soccer fans, and they're not, there's no free T-Mobile tie-in or free trial offers, free games or anything like that. And MLS Season Pass was one of the freebies offered as T-Mobile subscriber customers last season, which was the first offered by Apple TV. And so they saw an upsurge of signups because of that. And it's one of a number of big changes that T-Mobile has made with some of their different perks to its plans. In January, they shifted many of their subs to a free Netflix onto the ad-based plan, with customers offered a discounted rate to upgrade, and other perks such as Hulu and Apple TV Plus. So good for baseball fans, not good for soccer fans. And if you're a fan of both, then I guess you'll have to see what you can do.
Yeah, I know we talked a lot about sports this live stream. I think it's helpful to remember that it's going to cost more and more and more if you want everything. But if you're okay just getting some of a bunch of different things, but not everything, there are a lot of options out there. And I think this is a good example of that. Like this year, you can still get MLB TV for free if you have T-Mobile. That's great. If you like baseball, you know.
And Verizon has its perks for customers. And
if you don't need every game of every sport of every team, there's a lot of ways to get a good variety of live sports for free, or you buy just one service or whatever. So.
But it is going to require us as consumers to become more flexible or willing to sacrifice some things that they want to watch. And unfortunately, if you're a fan of more than one sport, that's going to make things tricky. Or if you're a fan of two different sports that don't overlap, like if you're an NBA and NHL fan, generally you're going to be okay because those seasons sort of run parallel to each other. But
Melanie, I really like your comment, Technopolis. I like that. And I was just going to say we do have a video on our YouTube channel on how to watch NASCAR without cable. It's for last year, but you could still check that out, share it with your stepdad. If I recall correctly, I believe a lot of the races are on Fox or FS1.
Yeah, I believe so.
So, antenna or something like that for Fox, FS1 is available on a lot of different live TV streaming services. Sling is probably the cheapest way to get it.
Yeah.
Sling Blue, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for FS1.
So I like ESPN Plus too, Raymond, especially because there are a lot of K-State games on it.
Yeah, and a lot of Big 12 games are on there, and so like our women's basketball team, they almost exclusively are on ESPN Plus, and we watch a fair number of those, and any of our men's games that aren't on ESPN will be on ESPN Plus, and
we see you, William.
yes,
I love your love for your team.
yeah, and we usually have a football game or two a year on there too, but it's not, ESPN Plus isn't perfect, but it is a pretty good resource and fairly affordable. So, well, thank you for sticking with us, guys. We ran a little over this week, but given that we've been gone for 3 weeks, I think, well worth it. And a lot of news out there, and I'm sure there will be next week too.
Yep, and we plan to be back next week. I'll make sure I'm wearing purple because we're going to be going down to Manhattan to see I think it's our last men's basketball home game of the season. So, as always, go Cats. You guys have a great week, and we'll see you next Friday.
Yes.
Happy streaming.
Yes. Bye, guys.